Well, good Friday morning, everybody. Chris Allen here with your 270 weather for the 270 area code and beyond. We've got an active day already, and it's going to become potentially even more active as we get into the afternoon and evening. I went ahead and started this just a couple of minutes before 7. My intent was to put that slate up there at the very beginning and say that it's going to start at 7, and there will be people joining us as the 7 o'clock hour comes around here in 2 minutes. But I wanted to get on here and just tell you that it is going to be um, a rather active day. It already is. In some cases, we've already had a few severe thunderstorm warnings this morning. I don't think what we're seeing this morning is going to be necessarily tornadic. Um, but I think after this morning round of convection, this is round one of potentially two, maybe three rounds of activity today. The one that's later this afternoon into this evening is the one that we're most concerned about, and the one that has the greater potential of producing not only maybe a spin up tornado, but also some very large hail. And we're talking about hail 1 to 2 inches in diameter. We're talking about maybe ping pong ball, golf ball size hail. And in some cases, the potential is there for greater than 2 inch diameter hail. So we're talking about up to baseball sized hail is a very strong possibility as we get into this afternoon and this evening, and in some cases, even after dark. Um, Not an all night thing, but it will go into the evening hours after sunset. And we're going to try to break all this down for you in as short amount of time as we can to try to get you updated and to try to get you ready for what's coming. Um, if you watched News 40 Sunrise, Matt Stevens was in just moments ago and has been tracking some of the severe weather this morning. He's going to continue to do that through the midday, and then I'll take over in the afternoon, and we may make an evening of it. And it looks like it's going to be the prime time for a lot of these storms to occur, is going to happen mostly after, say, 3, 4 o'clock this afternoon, starting west and then moving east as the main line of thunderstorms begins to move in. All right. Well, let's take a look first of all at the Plano camp. We'll go live to that, and I'll show you the way it looks right now. This is live, 7:01 a.m. For those of you just joining us, this is the view outside my window here at my home in Plano. It's a cloudy morning. The air is very thick, very muggy. There's no rain really going on right now, but there are clusters of showers and thunderstorms that are coming in from the west, and they'll soon be here. And if you've gotten storms already this morning, your atmosphere has already been worked over pretty well. Some of you have had a few severe thunderstorms this morning. So your weather is going to settle down for the next several hours, but unfortunately, that gives the atmosphere a chance to reload, and by that I mean become terribly unstable once again for another round or two of strong to severe storms. That's how this day is going to play out. So just be prepared for that because it's coming. I'm not going to go into the normal stuff that I normally do here with the highs and the lows and all that kind of stuff because I think today warrants being a little bit different in the coverage. So we're just going to hop right into it. and get to it. This is the way things look right now at 7 o'clock here this morning on this Friday morning. And you can see we've got a lot of active thunderstorms. Here's the thing, though, everything is pretty much west and north of Bowling Green. There's not a whole lot that's going on down here, although I do think we'll begin to get some rain, not necessarily the stronger thunderstorms. It's still a possibility that the southern half of Kentucky, down here in the Bowling Green area, much of the 270, and even part of the 615 and the 364 and the 606 is going to get in on some of this activity. Right now, I'm not seeing any warnings necessarily. Let me make sure that's turned on. Yeah, it's turned on, that layer. But you can see all these little squares and arrows indicate storms, storm modes, and everything that's moving off in a northeast direction. You can see here are current conditions like Mount Carmel, Kentucky, not Illinois, but Kentucky. Multiple alerts, including a severe thunderstorm watch. And this watch does include most of western and central Kentucky. That is in effect until 9 a.m. Central Time. Here is the rest of that watch, which does include all of the 270. There's Warren County right there. And you can see that that is in effect until 9 a.m. Central Time. So that's just picking one of those storms that you're seeing there. Here's something that shows the intensity of the thunderstorm, cloud to ground lightning. It's got maybe just some hail. Some hail is a possibility in that inside that severe thunderstorm watch and those severe storms. There's Murray, Kentucky, and Murray is one of those places. It just does not need a tornado threat, but you're going to have it. Mayfield, same way. Lots of those same areas that have been hit before look to get hit again with this potentially dangerous severe weather situation. We've got a little bit of lightning that's going on. Let me stop motion here for just a moment. I'm going to turn off some of these storm track layers so you can see the lightning and the current conditions as far as the bulletins are concerned. And there we go. This is the severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect until 9 a.m., as I was showing you here. And you can see that 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. So you've got Breckenridge, Meade, Grayson, Ohio. Hancock's pretty much out of our area, but we'll include it because we're including all the area codes this morning, no matter where you're watching from. You also have Butler, Simpson, Edmondson, Warren, Logan. Now, that includes a lot of people. And here is the entire, from the Storm Prediction Center, the entire severe thunderstorm watch number 259, which is in effect until 9 a.m. Central Time. And you can see all the counties in Kentucky that are included. It's a bunch of them. So let's just say pretty much everybody in the 270, parts of the 502, the 859, even the 606, the 364, 615, you're all under that severe thunderstorm watch. Now, this is just the first wave of activity that's coming through. There is going to be more of this activity as we go through the morning. Here's the way the radar has looked over the last little bit. You can see these clusters of stronger thunderstorms. Some of these have been severe, especially back west of us. In fact, there are several severe thunderstorm warnings that are ongoing back near Poplar Bluff, Missouri, over toward heading towards Sikeston and the Cape Girardeau area, and in the Missouri Boot Heel near Kennett, And then those on that northeast track will move toward Paducah, Murray, Mayfield, Benton, Kentucky, Land Between the Lakes. You're getting some pretty good thunderstorms over there now with some very heavy rain. And the very heavy rain is something that hasn't been highlighted all that much, but it's a threat as well. There's going to be that threat of some very heavy rainfall as this system gets more organized and continues to load and reload and just continue to push through. This is just the first wave of activity, as we're expecting a lot more to come up later on this afternoon and this evening. But there is your severe thunderstorm watch until 9. And that's just because we've had a number of severe thunderstorms this morning where you're seeing most of that activity. And a lot of it is kind of arcing up and over the Bowling Green area. And that's because of the placement of the front. But we've got plenty of available moist air, a lot of storm energy that's out there. There's just not much of a trigger. The sun is not out, as you saw from the Plano cam. That's kind of saving us right now. There's still somewhat of a lid of warm air, a cap on the atmosphere here in southern Kentucky that's keeping the thunderstorms away from us for now, but that's not going to be the case all day. It's not going to stay that way. It is going to be a rough afternoon and evening, I'm afraid, for us here in the 270. So be prepared, be ready, because things are going to be evolving. If you've watched me these last 2 days here in this podcast, I've used that word evolving. This is an evolving situation. Last night, nothing happened. There was a little bit of light rain shower activity, but we did not have the severe weather which was forecast. So that didn't happen because we had that lid, that cap of warm air about 10,000 feet above us. We may not have that later. And with these active thunderstorms this morning, they're breaking through that cap, which means there's enough upward energy, there's enough forcing to break that cap and allow those thunderstorms to go up, those parcels of air to be lifted, where they're then cooled. And that's what forms these kind of thunderstorms. And look at it on the high resolution satellite with lightning. These are the real time active lightning strikes that are going on right now. You see some of the older ones, but where you see these little flashes, that's lightning that's occurring right now, courtesy of the lightning detection network across the country. And you can see, look back here, west of those strong thunderstorms and severe thunderstorms, west of Poplar Bluff, Missouri, and Cape Girardeau, even west of Jonesboro, Arkansas, this is all sun. Look at all that sunshine. Let me put this into motion so you can see the movement of these thunderstorms, but also keep in mind the cloud movement, because what we need for the atmosphere to reload, to get rid of this canopy of clouds, and those clouds move away and allow the sun to come in. We get sun energy that comes down to the surface and heats everything up. That is what forms cell thunderstorms. There you see the move. See how everything is moving northeast? But it is, the entire area is moving a little east. Watch it. You can really watch it there at Poplar Bluff. See how I put my hand, that hand icon there. See how the clouds move northeast, but the entirety of the cloud cover begins to move east a little bit more. And that turn is, if it's with that kind of trend, then we could be looking at incredible instability this afternoon. If the sun comes out and stays out for a time, that's going to be a big, big problem. That is going to help give rise to some very strong thunderstorms. So that is another thing we've got to make sure that we keep an eye on, and we will. Let me talk about the threat. Okay. The threat is there. It's one of the higher threats that we've seen this year. As a matter of fact, um, I was talking, Jim Cantori of the Weather Channel um, was talking to me this morning. He texted me and he says, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Yeah, I guess I am." And he said, "Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys have been through two major flooding events and multiple rounds of severe weather already this year." And I said, "Yeah, you're correct." Um, so yeah, we had the February floods, we had the April floods, of course, but around all of that, we've had multiple rounds of severe weather. And so, Jim is right. Here we go again. And it's only May. This is crazy. It's just been a crazy active year, and we're not done yet. So here is the severe weather threat for today. And this outlook is primarily for tonight, this afternoon and tonight, I should say. Sometime after 3, 4 o'clock to the west, maybe 4, 5 o'clock in the middle, Bowling Green, I-65, and then more like 6, 7, 8 o'clock to the east or later. Depending on how fast this thing moves, it could be on into the evening, and I'm talking about 9, 10 o'clock before it all moves away. So we're going to have an active evening and an active night, level 4 on the scale, which only down here, as you see, goes up to 5. We're at a level 4 moderate risk, almost off the scale. As far as severe weather potential, it takes in all of central and western Kentucky. Now, let's break down the individual threats. Yes, there is a tornado threat, and it's a relatively high tornado threat, given the parameters that we're dealing with, the atmosphere that we're dealing with, the potential. Underscore the word potential. Again, let me reiterate, this is not set in concrete. Okay. So I know a lot of you deal with storm anxiety. I've dealt with it much of my life. Um, and I know this is going to be one of those times where you're pacing the floor and you're worried and sometimes you make yourself sick. Just don't do that. Okay. Let us watch what's happening. Let us help you. Let us tell you what's going on. And we will. We will. TV, on the app. We've got so many different ways to let you know what's going on. But the tornado threat is real. It's there. Whether you get a tornado or not, you're still going to deal with some very active, very strong storms, the kind that can produce wind damage and very large hail, along with the tornado threat. But the threat for tornadoes, as you see, is up to 15 to 29%. That's the chance you'll see a tornado within a 25-mile radius of where you live. So that's fairly good odds. But then when they put these little black hash marks on it, that means not only do you have that chance of a tornado, but you have a chance of seeing a tornado of EF2 strength or higher. And that would be winds of, 110, 115, 120 or higher with any tornado. It doesn't have to be a big tornado. It can be a very narrow, small tornado, only maybe a few 100 feet wide. It doesn't take much, but it can do damage. Are we looking at what's called a tornado outbreak? Some are calling it that. It has the potential, there's that word again, potential, to become a tornado outbreak. We'll just have to see how the rest of the day plays out. If we get a lot of sun in here for several hours, yes, potentially it could become a tornado outbreak. If we can keep a lot of clouds in here before the main line enters the area this evening, then maybe not so bad. But it's this kind of setup where we can have individual little pop-up supercells that happen during the heat of the afternoon. Those are the ones you're going to have to watch out for that could become tornadoes, supercell thunderstorms. And if they don't produce a tornado, they can produce large hail and damaging wind. Here is the damaging wind threat, which is rather high. We're looking at anywhere from um, to the east 30 to 44% to 45 to 59, almost 60% chance of damaging wind. Plus, you get winds that could be of category 1 hurricane strength, 74 miles per hour in the hatched area. And you see it's a rather large hatched area. Again, this is the potential. That does not mean it is going to happen, but you need to prepare for the possibility of not only a tornado, but also the damaging winds, straight line wind damage. And I think the highest potential for that to happen is going to be with any of those little supercells, if we have them, or with the main squall line of thunderstorms that's going to come in later this evening. How about the hail? Yeah, it's there. The hail potential is there. And where you see the hatch marks, Bowling Green West, that means hail of 2 inches in diameter or greater. And that's where we'd be talking about golf ball, um, up to baseball size hail, egg size, maybe. We're talking large hail, destructive hail. If it actually comes down that big and that hard, these things will be projectiles that come out of these thunderstorms if they get going this afternoon, especially those supercells. Um, those could come down at like 80, 90 miles per hour from the sky. Well, that's going to do damage. That's going to bust out windshields, maybe windows in your home. It's going to put dents in your vehicles. If there's any animals outdoors, cattle, things like that, it could be bad. So again, the potential, the possibility is there. Will it happen exactly like that? No one, but maybe God himself knows the answer. It's one of those situations. We have to see how all of this unfolds and evolves and behaves as we go through the day. If we can keep cloud cover in here much of the day, little less of a tornado, big hail event, it would be mostly occasional severe storms, maybe a brief spin up, and then a lot of heavy rain. But if the sun comes out where you live this between now and this afternoon and this evening, and it stays out for hours, then we're going to have potentially what you're seeing here. This is showing you the greatest potential possible with this kind of severe weather setup. And then it would be an outbreak. It would be tornado after tornado, large hail, lots of damaging straight line winds, and flooding rain. Now, the rain part of this hasn't really been talked about that much, but I want to talk about it here because it's one of the threats that we got to watch out for because hey, we've already been through two two major flooding events already this year, February and then April. And pretty much the entire month of April, we've had to deal with high water. The potential is there. Once again, and look at the target. This is today. This is today to right now. This is the target is right over southern Kentucky as far as flooding rain potential. As you can see, we go into the deep purples, and on the scale over here on the left, you can see that's anywhere from, let's say, on the low end, maybe 1.75 inches, but then you start to go 2.5, and we almost get into the reds. So let's say anywhere from 1.75 inches to about 3 inches of rain are possible right there, right here in the 270. What that would do is it would cause flooding. The kind of flooding we had in April, no, but it would cause some temporary flooding of roads. It's going to bring the rivers back up in the Green River Basin, the rough rivers, the Barren River, the Green River, so forth and so on, Trammell Creek, Drake's Creek, all of those, they're all going to come up again. With that kind of rainfall, if we get that kind of rain, which the potential, again, there's that word, the potential is there for this to evolve. I feel like Dr. Evil on, yeah, in the movies, it's like, Scotty, um, the potential is there for this to happen. So while most everybody is throwing up a bunch of graphics and a bunch of maps, tornado and hail and all this is mostly tornado, they're skipping over this. And you guys know how bad it's been when it rains this hard. You've lived through it twice already, February and April. And there are even a few remote locations that still have high water from April because the water tables cannot take any more. The cave and the karst areas underneath all of us are still dealing with high water. And you look around and some of the creeks and rivers are still dealing with high water from April. So add another 2 to 3 inches of rain on top of that. That's not good. Just saying. It's a component of severe weather that has been, I feel like, skipped over because it's not as, shall we say, it's not as sexy as tornadoes. It doesn't get as many clicks, likes, and shares as when you talk about tornadoes. Oh, that's the big scary thing. But you get flooded out, that's scary. When the waters start to come up to, your porch or your back door or even inside your home or your basement, that's scary too, because then you're going to have to deal with all of that. So I'm just saying this is a component we're also going to have to watch. And let me say that if we potentially, this turns into more of a very heavy rain event and less of a tornado, large hail event, which it could, then this is going to become the number one primary severe weather event, flooding. So that is the way it looks right now. And I know you've got a lot of questions. I may not have a lot of answers for you right now. Um, like, again, here is Amina. What time is it supposed to start? And as I mentioned, if you live, let's use Interstate 65 as a divider. The worst of the weather will start coming in, I would say, I'm just looking at a clock here, based on what I'm seeing, about 3, 4 to the west of Interstate 65 west. Okay. Along I-65 about, say, 5, 6, 7 in that kind of window there, and then maybe even before that in some cases, depending on how fast this moves. And then along and east of Interstate 65, it's going to be 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock. But after, I'd say after 10 o'clock, 10 or 11, it's all going to be gone. It's all going to be out of here. So it's not going to last. Here's some good news for you. That's those of you that suffer from storm anxiety. It's not going to be an all night thing. It is not going to be an all night pace the floor, stay up all night, try to keep up instead of going to bed. There will be a time that I will say tonight in the coverage, go to bed. You're fine. Go to bed. You're in the clear. I will tell you that, but you've got to be watching when I say that. Okay. So, just be ready for that and be prepared with a NOAA weather radio. And if you've got a chance today, go to your local Ace hardware store and pick up one of these. It's the Midland WR120. Uh, this is the one that they stock at Ace Hardware. And it's the ones that I've been promoting for about 20 years now. These are very reliable. They're battery operated, but you leave them plugged in and get current from your house when it's not in severe weather mode. That way, when the warnings go off and your power goes off, there's another thing that we're likely to have this afternoon and tonight: power outages. With this, and you've got batteries in it, you can still monitor the weather bulletins, the alerts as they come in. It will sound an alarm, and you can hear the latest weather even with your power off. But I have an even better suggestion for you, and that is to do right there in the corner, download the News40 Weather App. Just take your phone, open up your camera app, whatever camera app that came with your phone, open it up like that, okay? And you just hold it right there in front of the QR code. And when you open it and hold that camera app like you're going to take a picture, you don't have to take a picture, just hold it up next to that code down there, and it will come, the little link will show up on your screen. You touch that link and you can download the News 40 Weather App. It will send you instant bulletins, instant alerts and notifications. It will tell you if you're within 15 miles of a lightning strike. It will tell you if you're in the path of a tornado. How? Because it sees your phone's GPS. It knows where your phone is. And if a warning, tornado, severe thunderstorm, flash flood, if you're in the path, it will ping your phone and alert you instantly that trouble's coming and you're in the path of it. That's what that's for. It's got radar, it's got all the thing. And when we do live coverage at News 40, it will be there on the News 40 Weather App. So it's to me, it's the best way to monitor severe weather. Let's see. Let me see if I'm just looking through some of your comments here this morning. Here is Shannon. Hey, Chris, I have to work early tomorrow morning and need to get my sleep. Should I just sleep in my tornado shelter? Well, I can't really tell you that you're going to need to or not need to. That's a decision that you're going to have to make. It's just where you feel safer. If you feel safer being there, then it's probably, I don't know, I guess a good idea to do that. But I cannot make that decision for you. You're going to have to do that. You're just going to have to assess the situation for yourself and go with that. Connie, I'm preparing to go to the tornado shelter this evening. Are the ones coming through this morning tornadic? No, they are not. These are just severe thunderstorms. I mean, most all the warnings are now over, but this next batch that's moving in from out of southern Missouri could also be severe. You know, what we're hoping for is the clouds and the thunderstorms from what's going on right now keep us a little more stable than forecast. And therefore, we might not have to deal so much with the potential for what could happen this afternoon and tonight. That's my hope. And that's where I've crossed my fingers and dotted the I's and crossed the T's and send some prayers up. And like, you know, if we can just keep it a little bit under that threshold of the potential that's out there, then that would be great for everybody. But I cannot guarantee you that that is going to be the case. I just cannot. And that's why it is the utmost importance that you prepare, that you be prepared for the worst, and let's all hope and pray for the best. I'll be going in a little bit later on and taking the reins from Matt and going through the afternoon, the evening, and all into the night, no matter how late all this activity goes and no matter how long it lasts, I will be there for you. I promise. And we will have coverage on TV. I will not have coverage here at 270 Weather. Everything then shifts from here to News 40, as you see right there in the corner. WNKY, News 40, CBS, and NBC 40. We will have the coverage there and streaming to social media. Facebook, we've got a Facebook page. We've got all that, and we'll be streaming there and to the app. We'll be on the app, and you can watch us live on your phone or on your iPad. If you have internet to those devices, we will be there. In the meantime, have a great Friday. God bless you all. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.